So the first of our masterclasses, and someone all our students will recognise because we use these videos so often when we're practicing and learning how to be presenters. Welcome, Trey Morgan. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. This is fun. I'm excited.
It's fantastic because we've seen the videos. Now we get to experience the man in real life.
But here I am on video.
So you've worked at many different radio stations. The videos you're most famous for that we've seen is Z100, a station that everybody knows that's huge. Just talk about the different styles of stations that you've worked on and where you've been and where it's taken you.
Well, I mean, I've been super lucky in my career, of course, working at Z100, probably the biggest CHR top 40 station on earth. And then I worked alternative radio in Los Angeles at Alt 98.7, one of the biggest alternative stations in America. I've worked country format in Dallas, Texas on KPLX, which is, I just like saying it because I'm so lucky to have been able to do it, but one of the biggest country radio stations in the world. And like, I'm so humbled and grateful that I've been able to work in so many different genres and formats and at some of the biggest stations in those formats, definitely in the States, but Z100 and KPLX are global brands that are, it's humbling to be able to say that I worked there.
You talk about your different types of stations. So you've got your country station, your CHR station like Z100, alt. Now, I think this is the most important thing because a lot of people don't realise, some of our students included, you don't get to pick the music. You've got to show passion for whatever you're doing. So how do you flip between country, showing passion for country, to Katy Perry, to then Stone Temple Pilots? Is it all genuine?
Yeah, it's 100% genuine. See, it's easier for me on an alternative station because that's the music that I actually listen to. Like if I choose to sit down or flip on the radio, like I'm looking for an alternative station. But when it comes to CHR like Z100, like I'm excited about the energy and then the passion that comes with that music, and it's so much more fast paced. And then when it came to working in country, like one of the reasons why I got into radio was I just wanted to share information. I just wanted to, share part of my life and share what I'm learning and what I'm figuring out. And so what I focused on, when I was doing country was like, I highlighted my passion for informing, my audience. With Z100, it's more about entertaining and keeping my audience strictly entertained and upbeat and very positive. With alternative, it was just, I get to play all of my favorite songs, and this is one of my favorite songs, and I hope you like it kind of presentation. So it's all genuine. It's just highlighting different parts of my passion for music and radio.
So you can do a slick link. You've got 10 seconds, 15, 20 seconds, start of your intro of your song, which is rarer and rarer nowadays. You play a couple of beats just to get it going. How do you go about prepping that link? Because it's so hard to do something that's short, concise, quick, clever than just rambling for 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, one of the things that like when I consult and I teach, around the world, one of the things that I drill down on the most is the less you say, the more impact it'll have. And so when I'm looking at like a 10-second, link, I'm thinking to myself, first of all, what do I want to say? What message do I want to get across? And then after that, how do I get that message across in as few words as possible? And so it's really, like a 10-second link will take me, 10 minutes to drill down and have exactly what I want to say, because I need to constantly keep shortening and choosing different words. And sometimes I'll just get right to the point, and then I'll kind of tease for the next break when I have a little bit more time to say what I need to say. But it's all about the less you say, the more impact you'll have. So it's that whole less is more principle.
I mean, there's simple things that I've heard comedians do where they're not quite happy with the word and look at a thesaurus to try and find a funnier word or a different word. You get stuck on those crutch phrases or little words that you use all the time. Are you constantly checking yourself for that and making sure that you don't do it?
Oh, crutches. Yeah. I listen to, when I'm on regularly, like when I'm on 5 days a week, I'll listen to at least one show every week. And one of the things I'm listening for is crutches. And just about, I think it was 6 months ago, I discovered over listening for like 3 consecutive weeks, I discovered a new crutch And I was trying to explain it to my girlfriend, like what a crutch was. And so then when I isolated all those breaks where I ended up saying something almost the exact same, she was like, oh, that is annoying. And so, yeah, like it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, you develop crutches, and you have to figure out how to steer away from them. So, I mean, I beat that one. And the way I did it is I literally avoided saying those exact words for the entire next show. And then it was no longer natural and a crutch anymore because I got used to not saying it.
Yeah, I mean, I had a boss once who said another good way of doing it was to write down alternative phrases for whatever you had. So if you keep saying, okay, yeah, then think of another phrase like, all right then, and then you'd have 4 or 5 or 6 different ones that you could rotate, if you like you're rotating music around the schedule, and people wouldn't notice as much. In terms of your links themselves, how important is it to get a twist on and to do something a little bit different, a little bit clever, a little bit quirky each time that you do them?
It's paramount. I mean, anybody could say, here's Katy Perry's new song, blah blah blah. But to make that introduction of a Katy Perry song that chances are your audience has already heard 1,000 times, and a million different DJs have all introduced it the same way. Like, how do you stand out? And you do that. Each individual link or break that you do is your opportunity to stand out. So find a different way to present the song, whether it be something as simple as, if you're driving down the highway on the PCH, roll down your windows, Katy Perry's brand new song is a perfect summertime driving song, something like that. Just something to change it to make you special and you unique compared to the millions of other announcers who've said the exact same thing.
Do you think it's more difficult to do that now than it was, say, 10 years ago, 15 years ago? Is it more important maybe?
It's more important now because there are so many options, and not just competing radio stations, but if your link isn't good or interesting, then your audience, you're inviting your audience to flip on Spotify or Apple Music, or give them a reason and give them context to care about what you're playing. Otherwise, they could listen to the Katy Perry, Taylor Swift song literally anywhere else. But it's much harder now because the expectation of what's the word I'm looking for, being compelling is still there as it was 20 years ago when you had 3 minutes to talk. Now we have 10 seconds to talk, and it's much harder to be creative and compelling with such a small time frame. So it's harder to do now, but it's also more important to do now.
Tell us some of the things that got you noticed, maybe a previous boss you've had say, oh yeah, I heard your demo and I really like that, or you did that, that's why I've given you a call and you're now behind this board doing this show.
Well, I mean, I think one of the things that got me noticed is like I'm genuinely passionate about what I do. Like when I go to work, I'm like, it's not work for me, and I just want to do it, and I would do it for nothing if possible. I just really love the whole art of being an announcer. I love, the one-on-one conversations that you have with a million different people all at the same exact time. I love being able to present new music, new ideas, inform, entertain. I think all my bosses have identified just how passionate I am and how much I really just love radio.
What about in terms of the way you act in a studio? Now, this is great for the video air check rather than just the air check, because I was getting the kids to write down and say, watch what he does now before he opens the mic. What's he doing? Why is he doing that? Why is he not sat down, etc., etc. So those video air checks and that, smiling as you do before you open the mic because it'll make you sound happier, etc. How important do you think that is for the students to maybe do video air check themselves or look at what they do as much as listen to what they do?
Well, I think before I did my first one, I didn't think that it was all that important. But after doing my first one, and I can identify there are body movements that I do that change the way that I sound. And I didn't know that I was doing it or how I was doing it until I was able to see it. Like, you'll see me do a lot, especially on a Z100 station. You'll see me do a lot of mic work, leaning into the mic, pulling back, turning my head to the side. And it all changes how I sound. And it's all on purpose. you know, if I want it to sound as if I'm talking to, you know, like a large group of people, like, hey, you're gonna love this song, I'll turn my head away and I won't say, look, now I'm pretending that I'm talking to a large group of people instead of just you, Karen, sitting in your car on your way to work. When I get in close, like, um, you can hear more of the bass in my voice, and you know I'm a bit more serious. When I just lean back, but I'm still projecting into the microphone, it sounds much more energetic because I'm projecting more and it sounds more enthusiasm. So before I started doing my first video air check, I didn't realize what I was doing that was changing my sound. It was just came natural to me. Now I know, and I've gotten better at it as a result.
Right, some quick fire questions to finish. Very geeky radio type questions. Okay,
Okay.
we're drilling deep now.
Okay.
We use Zeta here at the Academy. Okay, what's your favorite playout system?
The system that we play.
What's your favorite playout system? All the stations,
Oh,
a lot of them have different playout systems. We use Zeta here. What's
yeah.
your favorite?
I would say Next Gen is my favorite. That one's amazing.
Right, standing up or sitting down in terms
Just,
of studio work?
yeah, it depends on the station. Z100 standing up, alternative and sitting down, hot AC. It'll be a mixture of both, just depending on what I'm doing. Country, sitting down. When I was doing hip hop, I was standing up. It really, like, my thing is, like, I get so excited when I'm on the air that if I'm standing up, like, my energy's boiling over. So if I'm on an alternative station, I can't introduce Stone Temple Pilots in the same with the same inflections and enthusiasm that I'm introducing, you know, Justin Bieber. And so it depends on which station I'm on.
If you ever go on a Christian station, will you do it from kneeling down?
I might have to lay down. I'd be too excited.
Who should the students listen to if they want to pick up some tips, or who are the guys that maybe inspires you, or ones that currently you think are really doing it?
Yeah. Well, you know, I really like, I'm just going to say him first because his name comes last in the alphabet. Zane Lowe, like, I really love listening to him. I think especially as a global radio student, I think he's somebody to really listen to because he relates so well to the States, and radio here in America is so much different than radio in other parts of the world. But like, he is very much international, very European, but he also has, you know, some of the sensibilities of American jocks. And so he can kind of, by listening to him, like, you can kind of get an idea of how to combine your local sound with a more international global sound. I would say Elvis Duran, he's by far one of the best to have ever done this. Like, I mean, he's up there, in my opinion, with Howard Stern. I mean, I would say Howard Stern for the interviews. I would say old tapes of Romeo from Z100 New York City. If you can find old audio of him, like, when I was first starting out, because I started out in a hip hop station in Florida, I was literally stealing his bits so much that he actually called my boss and told my boss to tell me to stop stealing from him. But he's brilliant, especially his early Z100 days. He was really good. Who else is there? Oh, there's Jojo Wright in Los Angeles. And not only is he incredible, he's been doing nights in LA for like 20 years, but he's still like the nicest guy in the world. And like, if you ever have a chance to, you know, to reach out or email him, I'm sure he's going to email you back, and he'll be as nice and humble, and he'll try to help as much as possible. So Jojo, definitely. I mean, there's just so many. I spend a lot of time just listening to radio. So, but that would be my introductory class, would be those guys.
Final question. You just mentioned it there about being a nice guy. I mention all the time about personality. Doesn't matter what you can do, how you can do it, in any walk of life, your personality is key. You've got to be a nice guy. And I think in a more and more competitive radio industry, the days of talent getting very upset and throwing things around an office and stuff like that's gone now, isn't it? It's gone forever.
Yeah, it's gone. I mean, something like my dad told me when I was a kid and I was like first starting to look for my very first job as a teenager was people want to work with people they like. And so if your boss doesn't like you, they don't think you're a nice guy, or, you know, would be a pleasure to be around, there's like 100 other announcers who are just as good as me, who my potential boss might like better. So I mean, you have to be nice, you have to be humble, and, you know, let your passion for the craft and the business shine through, and don't make it about yourself, and just be nice. Be a nice, like I have a personal expression for life, and I don't know if this, you'll need to bleep this out or not, but my personal expression is don't be a dick. Just do everything you can to not be a jerk or an a-hole, and just be a nice person. Things are going to work out eventually, no matter what, if you're a nice person.
I'm not beeping it out, because if I do that, some of them won't get it. Okay, that's that's on the money. Exactly right. Trey Morgan, thank you very much for all the video etch, and thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you so much, and it's been such a pleasure. If you ever need me again, just let me know.